Since the beginning of time, man has been confronted by the greatest enigma. The most important one is, beyond any doubt, his origins. The solution of this riddle will have capital consequences for the future of humanity. Today's science allows us not to believe, but to understand. During the Second World War, the American Army established an air base on the Pacific island of Tanna. Natives inhabiting the island were very impressed by the arrival of these beings coming from the sky. Not only were they different in their skin color, but more so, these beings were in possession of technology incomprehensible to them. Since then, each year, natives gather on a landing strip where they've built an airplane and hope for the return of the white gods, made in the USA. For a primitive society, the belief in God develops through contact with civilization technologically more advanced than their own. So, can we say that our current deistic religions are probably the result of contact with our ancestors and intelligent beings from space? How far back can we go in the history of humanity to find traces of gods visiting us from space?
People have seen some kind of strange objects in the sky for as long as we have any human records. We can look back to Roman historians like Livy, who would report that an object like a flying shield came passing through the sky.
These 2,000-year-old descriptions sound strangely like those made today by more than 50 million people.
There were sightings in the 16th century as well, and these were usually ascribed to religious portents, signs from God. In August of 1566, in Basel, Switzerland, these large black globes floated in the sky, and in April 1561, these objects appeared over Nuremberg. The Hindu epic poem, the Mahabharata, tells of events that happened about 1200 BC. One of the heroes of the poem is described as going up into heaven this way.
He rose on a huge beam of light, as bright as the sun and as noisy as thunder. How can such a primitive civilization be in possession of such advanced knowledge?
Most amazing was the Sumerian knowledge of astronomy. They knew of all the planets we know of today, described them in texts, and even depicted them correctly by location and size. The astronomer Copernicus is often said to be the first to prove that the planets orbited around the sun, and that Earth was one of those planets. That was in 1543. But the Sumerians said the same thing 5,500 years earlier. We have only recently discovered the key to our genetic structure, the twisting coils of DNA. But here is the same depiction on a Sumerian artifact from 5,000 years ago. It illustrates the process by which the Anunnaki jumped the gun on evolution and created Homo sapiens.
Are these the last discoveries related to the UFO phenomena? Since the beginning, we have wondered about the presence of these architectures.
I wasn't satisfied with the answers that were being given to me to a huge series of mysteries around this planet. Most mysterious of all, a series of ancient sites that have never been properly explained by historians. These sites I think of literally as the fingerprints of the gods, as marks left on our planet by a lost civilization that we have not yet properly identified.
All the evidence suggests that human beings, as we know them, did not originate on this planet, but have come to this Earth from other planets.
I believe that we came from outer space, that we are the direct descendants of the intelligent people who landed here a long time ago.
Until now, ancient texts in every culture relate the creation of life on Earth by beings who came from the sky. It has never been mentioned that man has descended from the ape, or that he is the result of random evolution.
Was reluctant to drop Darwinism because, apart from the fact that it's an attractive theory, there is also a scientific principle. It's called the principle of tenacity, that you shouldn't junk ideas just because a few anomalies have come along. The trouble is that the anomalies with Darwinism are so enormous that they're now greater than the theory itself, and so we should start questioning this principle of tenacity. We should start questioning, should we be hanging on to this theory regardless?
All the textbooks would have to be rewritten. All the exhibits in the museums would have to be changed. This would be very embarrassing, and people who have positions to defend like that don't like to be embarrassed.
More recently, in 1952, following several UFO sightings and public pressure, the American government was compelled to a press conference.
Since 1947, we have received and analyzed between 1,000 and 2,000 reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things.
It was the first and last press conference given by the American government on the UFO phenomenon. There has been a multitude of witnesses for the last 50 years. And in several countries, sightings are more or less described the same way. People describe having seen the same type of unidentified flying objects in the USA, Canada, Mexico, South America, South Africa, and almost everywhere in Europe.
Over those dunes, right there. Over the dunes. Oh, yeah. There she is. There she is, right there. Oh, my God. Okay. Kind of way out. That boat just went by. Oh, Jesus, wouldn't you know it?
For more than 50 years, people could not have invented the same story on those who came from the sky.
Don't call them aliens, because we look like them, they look like us.
See, all we ask is that people have an open mind. Look at something with an open mind with today's space-age eyes.
Human life on this Earth will change for all time. The planet will never, ever again be as we have known the planet to be. That's why it's a huge revolution. Once we finally, as a globe, say to everyone with CNN and all networks, we're not alone, ladies and gentlemen. Here's extraterrestrial A, B, C, D, E. There are planetary systems throughout this universe. There are galaxies filled with life. Then an entire new ocean, it's the biggest frontier, opens up in front of us. And rather than be afraid of it, I think we ought to go forward with courage.